The USA have just been embarrassed by Belgium 4-1 after Spain defeated Portugal 1-0 in the two games that took place tonight in the round of 16s. And that has confirmed two more teams into the quarterfinals, and they will be playing each other. We will get it. We will be getting a Spain versus Belgium clash, which is a rematch of the 1986 World Cup where Belgium knocked Spain out in that tournament. So we're going to be getting that again, which is going to be very interesting. There's a lot of talking points here. I think we have to start with Spain versus Portugal because I think this game was just an absolute waste of time. Portugal have wasted our time. Spain have also wasted our time, except for the fact that they were the dominant ones and they've got the job done, even though they played a really boring and uninspiring game. They're through. Portugal have completely wasted our time. It's one of the most boring games of this tournament. I mean, nothing can compare to Australia versus Paraguay in match day 3, but it's one of those games that was just... It was getting hyped up, the Iberian Derby, all of this, and it really did not live up to expectations. It was a last-minute Mikel Merino goal that sent Spain through to the quarterfinals. And you've got to be honest, Portugal have failed again. Portugal have failed again, Roberto Martinez has failed again, and Cristiano Ronaldo is going out sad because this was a terrible Portugal performance. It was pathetic, actually. It wasn't even like 4 years ago when they got knocked out to Morocco where they had chances at the end. They were pushing for that equaliser. They were really going for it. There was none of that. There was no passion, there was no desire, there was no intensity. This game was so unintense in my opinion. Everything was so slow. Everything was so slow. I mean, it is Spanish football, death by a million passes, and it ended up working for them. But from Portugal, these guys, their attack is absolute trash. It is absolutely rubbish. I mean, I heard my goat Jack from Deadball TV say that it's the equivalent of buying a Lamborghini and driving it in your grandma's gated community. You could have bought a Toyota. You could have even got a bicycle. That's what. Shout out Jack for that, man. My favorite international football YouTuber. But it's true. That's what this Portugal team is. That's what this Portugal midfield is. It is slow, it's one-dimensional, and you're wasting the talent on this team. Roberto Martinez has to take responsibility here, but so do the players. I mean, obviously the talk is all going to be about Cristiano Ronaldo, who I think at this point, just please let this have been his last World Cup game. It's really sad to see these legends going out like this, but he just can't do it anymore. He absolutely cannot do it anymore. And I'm flabbergasted that he survived the 90 minutes after Gonzalo Ramos scored the winner against Croatia. The fact that he did not even get a single minute on the pitch, I think that's really poor from Roberto Martinez. And Ronaldo offered nothing. And Portugal, once again, Roberto Martinez's Portugal don't have an identity. They don't know how they are supposed to play. They have no idea how they're supposed to play. They just kind of... sometimes it's side-to-side passing football, sometimes it's crosses into Ronaldo, but they were just absolutely rubbish, man. They were absolutely rubbish. And the key thing to talk about here has to be Vitinha and Bruno Fernandes, the two most disappointing players of this World Cup. Bruno came in as the PFA Player of the Year, breaking the assist record. Vitinha came in after winning the Champions League again with PSG, being considered pretty much by everyone as the best midfielder in the world. What did you do at the World Cup? Vitinha was getting hooked. He was getting hooked 30 minutes before the game ended against Croatia. He got hooked again last night. And Bruno Fernandes has offered absolutely nothing to this Portugal team all tournament. And it's once again these players playing for Portugal and they're just not delivering. They're just not delivering. Then on top of that, you got Ronaldo in the box, who doesn't run anymore, doesn't press anymore, and doesn't even get into good positions anymore. The wingers, I'm thinking Leao should have got more minutes. I think he's the only one going forward that did something. I think the only good Portuguese players from this tournament are Leao and Nuno Mendes, to be honest. And when he went off injured, I think that was a huge moment because he had Yamal locked up, right? Let's be so honest. Let's call a spade a spade. Lamine Yamal had absolutely nothing last night because Nuno Mendes had him locked up. Then when Mendes got injured, Semedo came on. Yamal started to influence the game a little bit more. So I think Portugal just let the game pass them by. They really didn't impose themselves on this game. It looked like they were playing for pens. Especially towards the end. Spain were the ones applying the pressure. They didn't create many great chances, but they were the ones applying pressure, and Portugal really did nothing about it. And in the end, the goal came, Mikel Merino, and Portugal had 5 minutes to respond. They didn't. They didn't even create some nice chances, and it was done, and that's it. And it's just another disappointing exit. Portugal are a disappointment. They have been for a long time. They were a disappointment at the last Euros. They were a disappointment at the last World Cup. They were a disappointment at the Euros before that. This is Portugal. This is Portugal right now. They're just not a very good team because there is no identity. They don't know how they want to play. There is literally just, they look so dysfunctional. They were outplayed by DR Congo. They were definitely outplayed by Colombia. They were outplayed by Croatia, and they were outplayed again today. It's just the reality of the situation. Roberto Martinez has now left. Ronaldo has played his last World Cup game, and it's going to have to be a new era for Portugal now. They're going to have to do a lot better because the talent on this team is there. This is a golden generation. This is a team that could, if fulfilled potential, win a World Cup. It's definitely possible. That is the best midfield in international football based on club level form. For international, we have not seen it, ever. We have never seen it, and Vitinha looked like Wolves Vitinha at this World Cup. He needs to take a lot of responsibility. Yes, it's on Martinez, but it's on these players as well. It's on these players as well, and it just wasn't good enough. And they deservedly are going out, and I'm very happy because they wasted our time again, and they keep wasting our time. Remember the last Euros, the game against France, the game against Slovenia, how these guys waste our time and time again. And watching them is so boring, it makes me want to pull my hair out, genuinely. It's ridiculous. Now when we look at Spain, because they didn't play a good game at all. They were boring. They were just, passing the ball around for nothing, really. They didn't create many chances, although they had a few, definitely more than Portugal, and they were the deserved winners of this game. Do they look like a team that can win the World Cup right now? No, but they are getting the job done. Defensively, they look strong. They still haven't conceded a goal this tournament. They're the only team that hasn't. I think that the centre-back duo of Laporte and Kubasi have pretty much dealt with everything. Pedro Porro and Cucurella as the fullbacks have been fantastic. And today's about one man for Spain, and that's Rodri. On a pitch with Vitinha, Bruno, Pedri, João Neves, a 31-year-old Rodri, I think he's 31, a 30-year-old Rodri coming off the back of an ACL has proven why he's still the best. Because that performance was unbelievable. He was untouchable on that pitch. He did not put a foot wrong, and it's just, it's the experience, it's the quality, it's Rodri for Spain. It always happens, and on a pitch with those level of midfielders, the fact that he's the best, I think it's a testament to how brilliant of a player he is, but I think it's also really bad for the other midfielders on the pitch, who are the ones getting all the hype these past two seasons. That Rodri, he had the season with the ACL, and this season with City, it was okay, but it wasn't nothing to write home about. But I think the biggest problem for Spain is this attack. Where it's Lamine Yamal or bust. That's the tactics, and Lamine Yamal hasn't had a very good World Cup right now. So far, it's really not been good. He scored that one goal against Saudi, but it's been poor. It's been a poor tournament, and he needs to properly turn up if Spain are to win this World Cup. Because the rest of them, I think Olmo was okay, but Oyarzabal, he's just not a striker. He's just not a proper killer striker. Alex Baena is not Nico Williams. They're not the same profile. It's a very different way of playing. It looks like Spain have gone away from Euro 2024 back another 4 years to World Cup 2022, where they completed 1 billion passes against Morocco and lost on penalties. And it honestly looks like that's the way it's going to go for Spain. I don't think this team can win the World Cup if they continue playing like this. I think France are licking their lips. Because I think Spain should get the job done against Belgium. I think that would be a huge upset if they didn't. But I think against France, they're going to find it very, very tough. And they need to improve. They need to play with more intensity, with more energy, and stop just passing the ball around for nothing. But they can be happy. They're through. They've done the job. They've beaten Portugal. Now they look at Belgium in a game where they will be the favourites. And then we'll see what they can do against France if it comes to it. Now, if we switch over to the other game to look at the USA versus Belgium, I mean, the Americans, man. A lot was made before the game because of Trump, of course, because of the Balogun red card, all of this. And Belgium really, really shut the Americans up. They honestly, it looks like they were playing with an extra fire in their belly, and honestly, I'm happy for them. Overturn that. I mean, the whole red card decision is an absolute disgrace from Infantino and Trump and everything. It's an absolute joke. And the US paid the price for it, I think, because I think it gave the Belgians an extra reason to fight, and they went up early in the game. Then the US equalised through a Malik Tillman deflected free kick after a foul on Balogun, which I didn't think was a foul. And then Belgium, deservedly, a couple minutes later, Decatur scores. Then the terrible mistake from Matt Fries allows Vanaken to make it 3-1, and Lukaku seals it in the end. And I think this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing because this is no longer the Belgium golden generation. This is a washed Belgium team, if we're being honest. Rudy Garcia, stock up to him. Incredible. Finally, he dropped De Bruyne, he dropped Doku, he still didn't play Lukaku, and the team looked much better. It looked much better. I think this is the recipe forward for Belgium. I was saying it, De Bruyne was making the games too slow and they looked much better when he got subbed off against Senegal. The biggest losers from this game are Senegal. Because they're watching that. Sadio Mane is on the phone right now. He's just like, what's happening? Like, that should have been us. Senegal should be in a World Cup quarter-final right now if it wasn't for their stupidity towards the end of the game. Because they would have been licking their lips against this US team. This US team had nothing. It is an embarrassment. They hosted this World Cup, and although they performed very well in the group stages, it's a round of 16 exit to a washed Belgium. It's not even like Canada, who got unlucky, very unlucky against a strong Moroccan side, or Mexico, who gave England the best game. Like, I would say this is England's best win since 1966. That's how far Mexico pushed them, and they lost barely. Compared to how sad the US went out, it's pathetic. It's awful. And they deserve to go out like this. They absolutely deserved it. They had nothing the whole game. They started playing in the last 10 minutes. By that point, it was too late. The Matt Freese mistake, I think, really knocked them off, any sort of momentum, because then they were 2 goals behind. But it was just rubbish from the US, man. Like, so poor. And I think, like I said, stock up to Rudy Garcia. Biggest loser, Senegal. And where did the US go from now? This was the big moment of the World Cup that they were hosting, and they got very nice with their World Cup path. Mexico had to play Ecuador and England. Right? Canada got Morocco. You got Bosnia and Belgium. You could not have asked for a nicer run, right? And Bosnia gave them, Bosnia gave them a run for their money. Obviously, they had the red card, but and for Belgium, Senegal was an easier game than this. That's not how the knockouts are supposed to go. It's supposed to get progressively harder. That was not the case last night. That was not the case. USA were completely outplayed. They were completely dominated, and they deserve to go home. And I think this speaks to the mentality of these US players. This is why I was thinking they were going to struggle in the groups. This is why I didn't think they were going to have a very good World Cup. And they really shut me up in that Paraguay game. But in the end, they are still soft. It is a soft team with a weak mentality. And that is shown last year at the Gold Cup when the players like Pulisic and stuff and Yunus Musa and all these guys said they're not going to turn up to the Gold Cup. That is embarrassing. If you're not going to turn up to the Gold Cup, you should not be playing for the US. Pochettino needs to set that down because these players, it doesn't seem like they care. And you can't say that about any of the other CONCACAF teams. You can't say the Mexicans didn't care. You can't say the Canadians didn't care. The Americans look like they don't care. And that was shown where they didn't show up for the Gold Cup. I can't believe that. I actually can't believe that was the Americans last year, and you could see it. It was coming. This was coming. They still have a weak mentality. I thought they were going to struggle against a team like Paraguay because we know they're hard as nails, and this US team is not. This US team is not, and this is it was a good tournament for them up until this point, but this is an embarrassing way to go out. It is utterly embarrassing. 4-1. It's appalling, and it's, I think what would do with the US a world of good? If CONCACAF and CONMEBOL merged so they could finally, grow some and just learn how to fight, because these guys don't. These guys are weak. They're so weak. And it's really unfortunate, and for Belgium, this is a huge win. I did not think this team would make the World Cup quarter-final, but they did, and credit to Rudy Garcia. They're going to give Spain a good game, because Spain, like I said, have not looked dominant at this tournament. Belgium will give them a good game. I expect Spain to advance, but it will not be easy. Belgium, as much as I think it's a mid team compared to the best at this tournament, it's a mid team. They've done their job. And the biggest losers from this are Senegal. Spain versus Belgium is going to be a great clash. Well, probably not actually. It's probably going to suck. It's going to be like Spain-Portugal. It's going to be a typical tactical European clash, side-to-side football, that sort of thing, probably decided by 1 or 2 goals. But it's gonna be close. That's what I mean. It's gonna be close. I'm excited for tonight, guys. Argentina, Egypt, and then my boys. Viva Colombia! I need this win, bro. Switzerland is a good team. I need this win. Hope you guys enjoying the World Cup as well. Thank you very much for watching till the end, and I'll see you guys soon.